And speaking of women, I cannot end this episode without sharing the inspiring story of Tererai Trent. She was born in a Zimbabwean village in 1965, and her father believed that there is no need to educate girls. They are to be married off and have children.
In my village, girls have no hopes. Only boys have the opportunity to go to school.
So he sent her brother to school and refused to allow her to go to school, but she wanted education. So she taught herself how to read and write using her brother's textbooks.
This is where my brother went to school, and this is the place that I have always wanted to be when I was young. And I would always cry and say, Papa, why don't you just allow me to go just for one day? I just wanted to sit on a desk and, raise my hand and say something.
Now, very soon, she was doing her brother's homework for him. Can you imagine? The problem was the brother wasn't doing so well in class, but his homework was always on point. So the teacher was confused. You're not doing so well in class, but your homework is well done. Who is really doing your homework?
I was desperate to learn. I was secretly doing my brother's homework.
And that was how the teacher found out that it was Tererai that was doing his homework for him. So he begged her father to allow her to come to school, and after some time he agreed for 2 terms, just 2 terms. As soon as she turned 11, the father married her off in exchange for a cow. So by the time Tererai was 18 years old, she was already a mother of 4 children. One of them died. She was still a child herself, 18. And then her husband found out that she wanted education so bad, so he became abusive. He was beating her because she wanted education.
My husband realized that I wanted to have an education. He would beat me. I have nightmares of that time of my life.
It's very important who you marry, my people, because your partner can make you or break you. Please, my African people, don't fall for, oh, I had a vision, God said that you are to be my wife or you are to be my husband. But did he speak to you about that person? I'm not saying that God doesn't speak. I'm a believer. Please be realistic and don't over spiritualize this matter. If you have dreams and visions for your life and you know this is what God wants you to do, is it in line with what that other person is saying? Also, if you don't have a say in your relationship while you're dating, if the other person is always the one making all the decisions, don't expect that to change when you get married and then you're surprised that you don't have a say in your home. So be very careful who you get married to. Back to our story. In 1991, a woman named Jo Locke from Haifa International in the US visited her village in Zimbabwe, and she asked every woman about their dreams.
She turned around and she looked at me and she said, young woman, why are you quiet? What are your dreams? I said, I want to go to America. I want to have an undergraduate. I want to have a master's. I want to have a PhD.
She wanted to go to America, get her bachelor's, master's, and PhD further. Now, this was a woman married off at the age of 11. By this time that the woman came to her village, she was in her 20s and she already has 5 children. For a lot of people, that's enough reason to give up on their dreams. So maybe your matter is not as bad as this, but that woman looked at her and told her that your dreams are possible, and she believed her.
Then my mother said, write those dreams down on paper and bury them. And if you truly believe in those dreams, then you'll see them grow and grow and grow. And if you achieve these dreams, not only are you defining who you are as a woman, you're also defining every life that comes out of your womb and generations to come.
See, that's the very first thing you have to do. Many of you are yet to write down your dreams. You need to make it clear, not just in your head, but put it down. This is what I want my life to look like. And it's never too late. You're never too old or too young to dream and go after your dreams. Second of all, it's easy to dream, but how bad do you want it? You know, it took this woman 8 years after writing her dreams. It took her 8 years for her to get her GED. That is the equivalent of SSC in Nigeria, like high school diploma.
It would take me 8 years. 8 years to achieve my GED.
Remember, she was no longer in school and she was raising 4 children. Also, her husband didn't want her to get educated. So when everybody was sleeping at night, that's when she would teach herself math and English using candles. She wrote the high school exam after some years and she failed. Guess what? She wrote it again. She failed again.
And I would try to find money to repeat those classes again, and it would take me another 2 years to do that and write the exams.
It took her 3 times before she passed. 8 years. 8 years, and she did not give up. You know why?
Weren't discouraged?
No, I wasn't, because I knew I wanted to break that cycle, that vicious cycle of generational poverty, of early marriages.
Wow. That's why I said, how bad do you want it? What is your reason? Some of you have similar dreams, by the way. Sorry to digress. Some of you have similar dreams like this woman. You want to study abroad. I don't know if it's America, Australia, Canada, wherever. But because you've been denied admission twice, you gave up. Or you were denied visa 3 times, you gave up. I know we are not talking about me. We're talking about her, right? But just to encourage somebody today, when I wanted to go to college in the US, my brother and I, we were denied visa for 3 years. And we went twice each year. Many of my friends had started school and, I was learning how to sew. To make matters worse, the shop where I was learning tailoring was so close to the university bus stop. For real, I'm not making this up. So when I'm going to the tailor shop, in the morning, sometimes I would see some of my secondary school friends going to the university and, some of them were confused like, Adiola, what happened to you? You were very bright. But, I didn't tell them what we were working on. And that's another thing. You don't have to tell everybody about your dreams. Although by the second year, I did IJMB. By the third year, I had also enrolled in a university back home. But then I got my visa and I came to the US. I started college all over and I'm grateful to God. By the way, some people had to wait 4 years, 5 years. If some people should share their story with you, you'll be amazed. As for this woman, it took her 8 years to get her GED, just the GED, and she didn't give up. So don't give up. You have to be hungry for what you are going after.
There is the little hunger. The little hunger is all about immediate gratification. But the great hunger is the greatest of all hungers. It is the hunger to change your own life.
How hungry are you for change? How desperate are you to make sure that your children don't go through the same cycle that you went through? If you're serious about studying abroad, do you have a passport? What research have you done? Have you applied to any school? Do you know about all the exams you have to take to go abroad? I'm just saying, some people are not practical. So 8 years after, she got her GED and she also got accepted into a college in the US and she moved her family to Oklahoma. She came with her husband and her children. As you guys know, school is very expensive in America. She was working 4 different jobs in order to take care of her family while studying full-time. 4 jobs. And then she would search for food inside trash cans of grocery stores, and she was living in a trailer with her family. Yet she completed her degree in agricultural education in 3 years. Usually it takes 4 years for a lot of people. But then her husband became jealous of her that now she has a degree, and so he intensified the beatings. After some time, the school found out what was happening in her home, how she was being abused, and they reported to the police. And guess what? Her husband was deported to Zimbabwe. So she was left with her children. 2 years after, she got her master's degree and she remarried. Now this time around, she married a man that believed in her dreams, okay? It took her 6 more years after that. But in 2009, she earned her doctorate degree from Western Michigan University. Amen, somebody! You see what has her dreams came to pass.
And it took me 20 years.
20 years,
from the day
but you never...
I buried my dreams to the day I got my PhD.
And you know the amazing thing, each time she achieved a dream, she would travel to Zimbabwe, dig up the thing with her dream, and she would check off that dream and put it back. After her PhD, she wanted to make a difference in her community by building a school in her country and also renovating the one that her brother attended so that more girls could go to school. So she started selling t-shirts to raise money. But guess what? She only sold 20 t-shirts. But you know, when you truly want to make a difference in other people's lives, somehow God makes a way where there is no way. When you have the right mind. I don't know how Oprah Winfrey found out about her story. But guess what? She invited her on her show.
I feel I need to give back. I need to build a school in my village.
Now, guess what Oprah did?
The buildings are literally falling apart, and most of the classrooms don't have desks, so the students do all their reading and writing on the floor, and the teachers have no supplies. And for that reason, I am going to help you rebuild your school. I'm donating $1.5 million. Yes. I'm donating $1.5 million.
Oh my God, I need tissue. I'm not supposed to cry on my own set. Did you see her reaction? Like, she never knew she could come to a place like that. It took 20 years, but someone finally invested in her dream. $1 million and they have dollars, people. But that's how it works. Sometimes you would work so hard for years and it would look like you're invincible. But one day somebody will come along to invest in your dreams. So you cannot give up yet. Of course, she renovated that school in her village.
The school was completed in 2014. Oh my goodness, we have 1,200 kids attending school. You find parents, you find community. They are cleaning the windows. They are making sure that the kids have a safe environment.
But not just that, she has built 11 more schools in Zimbabwe. And because of her, 6,000 children have received great education. And because of her story, a lot of adults in her village have also decided to learn how to read and write. Today, she's a professor here in the US. She's also a researcher on HIV/AIDS. She has won several awards. She's an inspirational speaker. She's a humanitarian. She's a scholar. She's a motivational speaker. She travels the world inspiring people. She's a woman of faith. And of course, she's an inspiration for everyone of us. But you know, if she had given up when things were tight, you know, we would not be talking about her today. So don't give up now. Not just that, those 6,000 children attending schools that she built, you know, they may never have education. So pursuing the dreams that God put in your mind is not just about you. It's so that you could lift others up. If you can make it, think of the people that you can help. Above all, she wouldn't have broken the cycle of poverty in her family. She said one thing, that if she hadn't gotten education, that her daughters would have been married off like she was.
Remember, my great-grandmother, my mother, and my grandmother and me were all both married and exchanged for a cow. And I didn't want to see that for my daughters. That alone encouraged me never to give up.
Well, her decision impacted the course of their lives.
I have a daughter. She's at Western Michigan University. She's doing biomedical degree. I have another son and he's doing biology and music. And to think that I get to see the results of my believing in my own lifetime. What else can I ask for?
So whatever decision you make, it would impact the course of the generation coming after you. I really hope that she inspires you today to make your time on earth count. Today she is known as Dr. Tererai Trent. So I like to close this story with the words of Dr. Tererai Trent.
I am a dreamer. I create my own destiny. I am the master of my own future. I refuse to let the past define who I am. I refuse to let the present challenges define my future.
Yeah, you guys now don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.